I'm back in time. Scraping again.
More scraping and more sanding. At least this time we can do it outside for all the drawers and the doors. So we've come to the point in our project here where we're going to be doing the cabinet doors. So we got to scrape this one down, obviously. And the cabinet drawers. The doors, some of them, well, all of them actually, we didn't like where the poles were at, so we ended up putting wood filler in there, and we're just going to sand that off, and then we got to scrape down all of this latex paint that somebody painted on there, and we're just going to leave the back that was finished like this. We wanted to update the cabinet doors, so we're going to do a shaker style cabinet door, and to do that, to do the shaker style on the door, we figured out we can go a little bit wider, but on the drawers we can't go as wide because it'll fill up the entire drawer. So we're going to do some different widths. I think on the doors we decided, what did we say, Ashley, 3 inches?
2.5.
2.5 inches, and did we say on this one an inch? An inch. We got this MDF board from Home Depot. It's nice. It was already cut into these 2x4 chunks or whatever they are from Home Depot. And we decided, we kind of thought about this for a while on what to use to make them into the shaker style cabinet. And we decided to go with this 1/4 inch MDF board because it's going to split, hopefully, we'll see in a second, less on the table saw than plywood would. So plywood ends up with kind of a split, especially where the butt cut is. So here is our table saw. This is probably, it was probably $100 when it was new. We got it used for, I don't know, 50 bucks or something. It is not the world's best table saw. You know, in a perfect world I'd have a $2,000 table saw, but I don't. But this thing's gonna work. And what you want to do is you want to set this fence to the width that you want, preferably while it's unplugged. And we're going to do 3 inches. We're going to do 1 inch first for the drawer. So I'm going to set that to 1 inch. And then we're just going to run strips by the blade right there. And we were going to get 1 inch strips out of the MDF board. So, we are wrapping up our cabinet faces here. So I cut these, we ended up doing 2.5 inches for the trim for the shaker cabinet doors on this one, and pre-cut them. The height has the long piece, and the width has the shorter piece. So I did full length for the height, and then just measured to fit the width in between the two height pieces. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to take a little wood glue and wood glue this on. So I've just been gluing one on at a time, just carefully lining up the corner here. Alright, to finish this off, we're going to be using this little nail setter. Of course, this would be a lot quicker if you had a brad nailer to put all these in, and an air compressor, which we don't. Didn't feel like buying it quite yet. Probably going to end up buying one in the future because it takes a lot longer to do this without it. And there you have it. we've got some cabinet doors. The next step is going to be to put some wood putty on these. So I'll put some wood putty on the holes where I sunk the nails, and if there's any gaps in these seams, put some wood putty in that, and then we'll sand that down, and we should be ready to go to prime these up.
First coat of primer on yesterday. I think we're gonna go for a second coat. So if you can tell where the old cabinet fronts are, so this is MDF here, and this is the cabinet front, we've got some yellowing, and that happened inside as well, and it just took like 2 to 3 more coats of the regular paint to cover it. So we're gonna go ahead and do a second coat of primer to see if we can get some of that stain blocked before we start the first coat of our cabinet paint.
Okay, so we've been living in our kitchen here for a little bit, as you can see. Ashley's over here organizing, putting things away, trying not to make it look like as much of a mess as it is. But we've probably been living in the kitchen for about a week now, working on the cabinet doors and the drawers. And the cabinet doors and drawers are finally done, pretty much. Well, there's still a couple left that we're still painting. And now we are ready to install them. What we're gonna do is, we've already kind of messed around with one, and the hinges, we're gonna put the hinges onto the doors first. The holes don't line up exactly with the old hinge holes. So we're gonna have to do some new pilot holes. We'll kind of show you how that goes. It's a little bit tricky. And then the holes do not line up where they were on the cabinet face either. So we're gonna have to drill some new pilot holes there as well. And that is also a little bit tricky. So we'll kind of show you what we did for that and see how it goes, and hopefully we'll have new cabinets here by this evening. Well, I'm showing you here how the holes are not lined up. So here you can see the these are the old holes here that are wood puttied in, and you can see these new hinges are just slightly off of where those were. You can also see where the old hole was, and you can see the hinge is actually moved almost a 1/4 inch over, so they are in a different position. So yeah, the real problem here is that the holes are like right on the edge of the old holes. The tendency is for the drill bit to want to slip off into the old hole. So pretty tricky. Sure, there's some sort of jig that would make this easier, but
We use spacers to lift up the inset part of the door. The hinges we had to use are 3/8 of an inch inset self-closing style, and the spring causes them to be pinched in. So when marking them on the cabinet, you have to move the mark roughly 1/8 of an inch.
Okay, Okay, so we got these two in, but they're, as you can see, they'll close, but it's pretty tight here. So we're gonna try this little trick here with a towel. Well, Ashley's gonna try it. All right, give it a shot, Ashley.
Do you think these will work, or should I try a big towel?
I think that'll work. So the idea here is that you're bending hinges a little bit instead of trying to re-drill really tiny holes.
It's better. I gotta do a little bit more though, I think.
Yeah.
So nervous.
So yeah, we're just trying to bend these hinges just a little bit right there so that they meet in the center. I'm sure professional cabinetry people would hate this, but so we ran into the same problem over here again. Doesn't quite close, a little too snug. So, I mean, they will close, but it's too tight. So we're going to separate them by bending the hinges just a little bit. Pretty good.
Needs to go a little bit more on the bottom still. What is that? That
Got it?
feels like money.
Nice.
To place the cabinet poles, I measured 2.5 inches down from the top of the cabinet door and halfway across the vertical trim. I then measured 3 inches down from my first mark for my second hole. Our poles had 3-inch centers. And that's it. The grand total cost for the entire remodel of our kitchen was $3,377. $950 of which was new appliances, and of course, over 150 hours of labor.